Full shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, just some social shit for everyone, you know what I'm saying? Like, I made this be myself, so hear me. Woo! I mean, like, we can put all that clown shit away. There's some real shit for you. I'm spazzing right now, so listen, let's go. Yeah. It's in their bones, the thugs in harmony for the love of the money. Then fall victim for the cookie, then turn pussy, it's lonely. You said you hold it down when life get rough, we're here now, so show me. We move them losses to them wins. Heavy pounds, we make it ends meet. Converse with only few who make me feel like I be 10 feet.
Yes, peeps, we are back in the damn building, and today we are going to be taking a look at a striker who is on the list of some of Europe's biggest clubs, and that is Benjamin Sesko. Now, as we know for Benjamin Sesko, he's definitely been a player who, you know, he's been around for a little while. Of course, he's still very, very early in his footballing career. Of course, currently now playing for RB Leipzig, but previously of RB Salzburg. And I think that when you look at someone like Sesko, you can understand why so many teams and so many fans would love to have a striker like this in their team. Now, we know how the world works now in today's football, which is GA. Doesn't matter what position you play. Heck, I'm surprised we haven't brought up GA for the centre-backs and the goalkeepers. And there are a few goalkeepers who do get assists, to be fair. But when you look with Benjamin Sesko, you can see this season he has been pretty good in front of goal, you know, 17 goals, you know, and 5 assists, 22 GA, you know, in 35 appearances. So the GA nerds, I think they'll be extremely happy when they, you know, see this kind of goal return. And also as well, when we look back to last season, where he, of course, got 18 goals and 2 assists. Again, you know, 20 GA is good, you know, I guess for some people. But, of course, I'm more focused on the goals. And even still looking at the goals, 18 goals in 42 appearances is really, really good. But it's not just really about his goals. And, now, of course, we'll take a look at, you know, the types of goals that he has scored, you know, throughout his time for RB Leipzig and, you know, Salzburg. But it's more about the player himself. What does he actually bring to the field outside of the goals? Because that's something that quite a lot of people do look at when they are thinking of, you know, a forward player to come into their team. You know, it's the off the ball stuff, it's the pressing, it's the link up play, it's the, you know, the can he, you know, dominate both boxes, you know, if we need him to, you know, in terms of it in a defensive sense, in an attacking sense. Is he someone who drops deep for the ball? You know, all these kind of various different things are things that we now look at when we're talking about even a striker, you know, a genuine number 9, which I would probably class someone like Sesko. As mentioned before, of course, this guy's got an array of finishes, man. He can finish from outside the box, inside the box, you know, from different angles, whether it's on his left foot, whether it's on his right foot, whether it's in the air. You know, he does seem to have, you know, the kind of array of finishes that, again, most teams would love to have this type of player, you know, in their squad. And of course, as well, one thing I will definitely say about, you know, the Red Bull kind of organization is they are very good in developing players. You know, there is a pathway for all these kind of players to be able to develop their skill set, you know, in terms of, you've seen the likes of Dominik Szoboszlai. Obviously now you're seeing someone like, you know, Benjamin Sesko. There are various other players, you know, who do fall into that kind of category where you can just go out there and do your thing. You know, you can go out there and just be the player that you need to be, you know, whether that is a striker or a midfielder. And when I'm looking at someone like Sesko, we've been talking about this guy for at least 2 to 3 years. You know, it's been coming, and I think whether this summer is going to be the summer where he makes that move to a bigger club and, you know, becomes their, you know, focal point, I think that is inevitable for someone like Sesko, especially with the, you know, amount of goals that he's scored in his time. I mean, look at that finish, absolutely brilliant, you know, from Sesko, quick feet. And again, for someone of his height as well, he has got the technical ability to be able to do this, I feel, quite consistently. It does remind me a little bit of a Isak, you know, when you're talking about someone who comfortable in dribbling, but also when they do get in and around the box, they are not shy. You know, they are players who they seem to have that level of composure where even after these kind of mazy runs and things like that, they still have the composure to be able to finish. They can sniff out a goal when they need to, you know, first time finishes, you know, 1 touch or even 2 touches. He can do these kind of finishes. And I think Again, all dependent on the team that he joins, all dependent on other, various different factors. But I do think when I look at a player like this who can hold up play, he's a focal point in the box, and I think a lot of teams do need that. I think don't change him. I think that's always the main thing I feel with players like this. Don't try and change that player too much. Don't get him doing too many things. I mean, we'll check out his heat map in a second, but again, he is a player who can pop out to the left, to the right. He can drop deep. He can do all of those kind of things. I mean, look at these finishes, guys. These finishes are really, really good. And I think when you've got a player like this in your team, you want to try and maximize, as much potential, much talent out of this individual as you possibly can, which is of course understandable. So I think he is, due a very, very big move. Of course, it's going to be interesting to see where he goes, but we'll just have to wait and see in that regards. As I said before, you looking at his heat map, and you can see he isn't just dominant in that one area. Of course, in the boxes, I guess, where you need him as close as possible towards goal. But you can see out there on that left-hand side as well for RB Leipzig this season, you can see that is an area that he does like to pop into. Again, attacking midfield area, if you want to call it that, and on the right wing as well. So again, because we're looking for all of these various different things from our players, from our forwards, especially in terms of, we don't just want, would I say, quote unquote, a Haaland. And by the way, I say a Haaland as if I wouldn't take a Haaland in, in an absolute heartbeat. But of course, the system at Manchester City, where you've got players like Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden, the Rodris, Bernardo Silvas, people who are very good, and they're built to supply this individual. If you're not a team who have that level of quality in your midfield areas, for example, to be able to supply, you are going to need maybe a little bit more, from the attacker. And of course, someone like Sesko, I feel, who does have, again, similarities to Isak, I feel similarities to Erling Haaland. More so, I think it's just because of the kind of finishing, the running power, the height, the strength kind of thing. But I feel like he's got that kind of dribbling ability similar to an Isak, in terms of, you can still tell that they're a striker because of the way that they dribble. There's a certain style with strikers. If you've played football before, you'll just know strikers, and wingers, they don't dribble the same. You can tell one is a tad bit more comfortable doing it, more so than the other, but he can still do it. He can still do it to a really, really good level. And again, no slight on Erling Haaland, because he's better at finishing than both of these guys because of the level of consistency that he's obviously possessed. But ultimately, some teams, and most other teams, to be honest with you, who are not called Manchester City and who do not have a Kevin De Bruyne supplying them, you do need that little bit more. And I think Benjamin Sesko, again, he's still a raw, untapped kind of individual, in terms of, we don't know how good he can be. We can see a little bit from him, but at this moment in time, he still needs to get there. I think, he'd be a very, very good option, for most teams. So will it be Arsenal who do get him in the summer? That has been the team that has been linked with him for quite some time over the last couple of seasons. Will this be the summer that they go out and finally stop with the excuses and just go out there and get that striker who can potentially fire them to a Premier League title? Or will it be another team? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Who should sign him? Who will sign him? Where do you think he should go? Where do you think he will go? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, people, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.